Less than 2 weeks ago, New Haven Police Interim Chief Renee Dominguez was announced as Mayor Eliker's pick to become permanent chief. If approved by the city's Board of Alders next month, she'll become the first female to lead the New Haven Police Force. This morning, we welcome Interim Chief Dominguez to CT21. Chief, thank you for being with us. You walk up to that podium. We saw some video of it there. The mayor announces you as his pick. What was that moment like for you?
It was very exciting. It was more emotional than I thought it was going to be. You become a police officer and you not necessarily think that this is going to be your trajectory and this is going to be how your career takes you. But there's a lot of, pieces along the way that kind of builds you to this moment. So seeing it all kind of coming together and it's really exciting. And being the first female permanent chief for New Haven will be something that I don't know if I understand how significant it is yet.
You're a local kid. You grew up just across the river, and you've been, in this area pretty much your whole life. You've held a lot of jobs in New Haven: patrol, walking beat, canine, hostage negotiator, a supervisor in various parts of the city. How do you build on that to become the chief?
I think each one of those positions is building you to be the chief, right? Even if you don't become the chief, you're always looking to excel and to take something that you've learned in every position that you've held or that I've held to be able to make me better in whatever it is that I'm going to do next. So, being on a walking beat is making me be a better officer who's responding and be able to investigate because you're really learning the community on a walking beat. But every single position that I've been able to and privileged to be able to hold in the New Haven Police Department has been given me the opportunity to grow, to be challenged, and to move forward to this moment now, where it may be one of facing some of the biggest challenges of my career. And I'm responsible for not only an entire police department, but for an entire city. That's a big weight. And I do feel that I'm thankful that the New Haven Police Department and the community has prepared me along the road of this 21 years.
You talk about the accomplishment of being the first female permanent chief of the department. There were some groups that were critical of the mayor's choice, some community groups speaking out saying they wanted more diversity. They were upset about the violence in the city. They wanted more community input. I know you've been open about addressing some of those concerns, as has Mayor Eliker. What do you say to people who might have some questions about you being chosen to lead?
I think that my track record at the police department, I think that all of that I've done in the community over the years, district manager in 3 different districts, has prepared me to know what the needs of the community are. And I welcome any community group or individual to bring forward some concerns that maybe I'm not aware of. I also lean heavily on the lieutenants who are in those districts and the officers who are in those districts. And the communication that happens within the police department is one that allows for ideas all the way from the street officer to get to me, because they are the ones that are on a day-to-day basis. I'm hearing it in a bigger picture wise. So I am willing to continue the work that we've been doing at the New Haven Police Department to making sure that I'm hearing everybody and everyone's concerns and doing our best to address them and making this city a safer city to live in.
One of the things groups, both some of those I mentioned who were critical, but even supporting groups have said they want to see more diversity, particularly in the upper part of the ranks of the department. What can you do as chief? I know one of the things people pointed out is that, if the captains are promoted to deputy chief, it might not be a lot of diversity up at the top. So what can you do as chief, and what will you pledge to do as chief to try to have more diversity, particularly among those in the white shirts?
So our goal is diversity throughout the police department to make sure that our police department is representative of the community. And I think we do a great job at that, but it is constantly a process. As we have individuals retire and positions open, sometimes we do feel that there is a void in one rank more than another, where we are very diverse in the officer rank and we are more diverse in the sergeant rank. And as we get to lieutenant, it does become to be less diverse. So it is part of our goal to continue promoting. And I think that that is something that I have done since March when I took over as acting for Chief Reyes. I've promoted 3 different groups of individuals, 3 different promotions, and that's more that we've done in years past. And that just shows that, one, we do have the vacancies and we're looking to fill them so that we are able to mentor and develop our younger officers through each rank so that we can begin to rebuild what we have had in the past at the police department, with individuals who are capable, with individuals who have gone through a mentorship, a leadership, and be able to hold those ranks and to continue the excellence that is the New Haven Police Department.
We've talked a lot about you, and we've now talked a lot about policy, but I want to talk policing before we're done here, Chief. You had a recent arrest in the last month, a murder suspect who was 17 at the time of the crime. We've talked to so many police chiefs from around the state about the problems with young people and violent crime. That's a lot of what's criticized in your city as well. So what can you, as the incoming new chief, do about it?
We're going to continue what we've kind of done since COVID. Some restrictions were lifted of COVID. We did see at the beginning of this year that our crime was beginning to accelerate at a rate that we were not accustomed to, that was not kind of on trend or on par. And we were seeing around the nation, but it's more important to worry about it's important to look at trends around the nation to see how they correspond to our city. Our community is the one who feels that. So it's important to be thinking about traditional ways of policing and non-traditional ways of policing to be able to come together as a group and formulate a plan that maybe is outside the box, isn't just going out and, making arrests on targeted individuals that we know are responsible for crime, but using other social services, using other programs that we have in the city that we're very thankful to have in the city as a full approach, an all-encompassing and wraparound approach in how we're going to reduce crime. And we're going to continue to do that. And I do think that we have seen a reduction in the number of shootings and homicides since our spike in maybe April and May. We have put a lot of work in, and we've worked with our partners, federal, local, state, and our non-police partners to be able to see the results of reduction in crime. And we want to continue that. And even though we are kind of seeing our numbers at where we were last year at this time, it is not enough. We need to be reducing next year. 2022 needs to see a reduction from this year, not just kind of staying on this steady pace, because we know we can do better and we always strive to do better. And we're open to any ideas that the city has. And I think the city has a lot of out of the box, different ideas and working together, because we cannot arrest our way out of it. We cannot do it alone. And we've said it over and over again since I've become the acting chief. And it really is a community job to reduce the violence. And we all have a piece of it.
Well, you are the appointed top cop, the biggest piece of it. Chief Renee Dominguez will be continuing to watch as the Board of Alders votes, and hope to have you back here on CT21 again in the future. Thanks for being with us.